everybody. So the build I was talking about, I'm gonna release here today. If you were watching the stream or the prediction video, I talked about how I had a pistol build, and then the patch dropped, and they buffed everything about the build. So yeah, here we'll take a look at it. It's going to be using the Ducketts, of course, with the recent buff. Originally, I was running two Huxleys, and the idea was to rotate them in and out so that there was always a Huxley up. And the principle behind that is that the Ducketts have a really good impact to cumulative impact ratio for our purposes. If we can prevent the impact from decaying, every time we shoot both pistols, we're building up 630 impact, and it basically functions like pseudo cumulative impact until the Huxleys go down. What that means is that you're really quickly putting out essentially like a Zimmerman shot. You can do 1.7 shots per second. That is an absolute madness amount of impact. Even more so if you can have a fight against an opponent where you can justify using assault boost to get the kinetic buff. The point is that this build just staggers them extremely quickly. Now you might be wondering, wait a minute, we don't have a punish weapon. So the thing is, the Ducketts do enough damage as is, and your stagger buildup is so fast that once you've staggered them, you really don't even need to do another punish. If you're reloading, just throw in a kick. If you're not, just keep shooting. Cycle the Huxley down while they're staggered so you can get some cooling preemptively. And the reason that I ended up swapping the PB buckler out PB buckler in is just like I said, this change to make the IG duration 0.4 seconds with also a buff to the number of deploys we can do is insane. I'm sure this is going to get nerfed, so enjoy it while it lasts, but I just couldn't justify not running this on this lighter weight build. You'll notice that we're hitting 371 boost speed while running the Alula and still maintaining the QB reload time. If I were to swap this out, I can get another 8 movement speed and also getting some better upward thrust energy and upward thrust EN consumption. The assault boost also has better EN consumption. You can consider this. I did find that having the Alula paired with the shield though, I was running this originally, but now that I'm running the shield, having this gives you some really powerful defensive options, especially because we don't have a quite as powerful a punish as other builds. We do want to make sure that we have the ability to evade when they wake up, and especially when the Huxley's overheated, now that we're only running one. So I did end up swapping that out. Legs have excellent jump distance now, and so we're really making use of that to get sort of a pseudo knock leg feel to it while getting a little bit better stats and more importantly better boost speed and equip load. Weight load, so we can run that. Abbott, this is so that we can flirt the line on the 130 meters. We don't have to quite be point blank and to still get some decent medium range tracking. Now, you will note that the effective range of the Ducketts is 178 and the ideal range 90, meaning that depending on how tanky your opponent is, you're going to start getting deflects anywhere from, like, let's say 100 meters out to maybe like typically I'd say the lower or the higher end might be 160, 170. So flirting a line with the 130 meter range and maybe just outside of it gives us a really big advantage against opponents that are still running the Acellus or are running like a build that really requires close range tracking. You're going to use the PB buckler to essentially evaluate your opponent's build and see is there any attacks that I need to make sure I always parry. And you do want to really focus on the defensive side of this build. Your passive outgoing impact is going to do its job without too much brains. I hate to say it, but pistol builds are pretty brainless. You just keep pulling the triggers while paying attention to your opponent and just positioning so that you're ready to block the big nukes that they're going to try to throw it at you. Ming Tang Generator ensures that we're never stuck on the ground for that long, 0.66 seconds for the recharge delay, and it takes us a little more than half a second to regenerate our energy bar to full, meaning that we basically only touch the ground for 1 second, or put another way, we only realistically need to use 2 IG flashes to protect ourselves for the most part whenever we're touching the ground. Assault Armor is your pseudo punish. You don't have to use it that way. When people use Pulse Armor, something else to note here is that because of your outgoing impact, you realistically don't even need to use your assault armor to neutralize it, and given that you don't have a huge punish anyways, I would frankly recommend saving it most of the time, unless they're running terminal armor, in which case, yeah, use the assault armor right away. Take that 5,000 damage punish when you can guarantee it. So on your second stagger, first time, just neutralize the pulse armor with your pistols, unless you're just like perfectly positioned and it's just such a hard justification not to do it. It's like, especially with the amount of lightweights running right now, you may not need to use your assault armor as a punish. For tanks and whatnot, I would suggest using the assault armor on the second stagger just to ensure that you get that full 5k impact and then have enough time to back up. So play conservative in that regard. Arm types, we're looking for firearm specialization and recoil control largely is the big one with pistols. There are some better recoil arms. You could also consider the Mind Alpha. This one has pretty good stats. It's a little bit less on the firearm, but the recoil control helps a lot. I didn't find I had a problem, and I would have to make some adjustments to make the weight work, so that's why I didn't end up going with these arms. But the Alba just traded off more stats than I necessarily needed, and the recoil wasn't quite as good. These arms are also pretty good as well. Again, you can pick your flavor here. I haven't optimized the arm type here, but I just don't feel I'm having trouble with the HAL arms as is, and you'll see that in the clips. Mind Alpha Core, definitely one of my favorites. Just hyper EN supply efficient while giving us great defensive stats whenever we can justify the weight. And in this case, we are a light medium weight, so we can. Same thing for the Mind Beta Head. We've got really good stability. That's the main thing we're looking for here, especially to compensate for our lower legs. Okay, so that's how the pistol build works. I'm also just like passively testing some new builds in ranked, so I'll do a couple of matches in there, and we can take a look at this build performing. Another thing I just forgot to mention, I do want to test the reload time and the parry windows that I need to keep up while I'm reloading. So let's just do a salvo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Okay, so you want to use 2 shields every time you have to reload. Count your shots, and then 1, 2. Make sure you're cycling it for the max amount of time. I was a little quick there. It's taking some getting used to this new long IG window. You could throw in the third one, but I would just focus on preserving some heat duration or heat buildup and just saving it for the next time. You always want to have at least 1 in reserve. Was my old habit, but now that we've got an extra deploy, I think keeping 2 in reserve is a pretty wise maneuver with this shield now. The fourth one will overheat you though, third one won't. Don't underestimate other uses for the PB buckler. When you're out of energy and needing to drop down, try to cut your battery and just like free fall if you can, to ensure you get the maximum time on the way, or the maximum speed to get to the ground, get your energy back if opponents are building height on you. And that's a great time to be deploying the shield, especially if they're right on top of you. It makes it so that you're protected while you're getting your energy back, and that also applies when you're on the ground too. If you're out of energy, just get into the habit of cycling the rhythm of cycling the PB buckler for its maximum IG time. If you ever want to see what the IG window looks like, just overheat it. The last deploy will last only the IG window. So we'll take a look here. So that's the window there. It's okay. It's better to go a little over than a little under, unless you're up against weapons that have super high multipliers against shields, like the Kranich or the other bubble guns. Just because it's better to still squeeze out some reasonable defense there, and not waste any of your time on the buckler. It's better to take a little bit too much than always be undercutting yourself with these shields, because they're on a tight budget anyways behind the IG window. Okay, so this is a great chance to show off just how efficient the pistols are at staggering. You can stagger tanks, no trouble. Again, we're putting out massive impact values while the Huxley's up. So, in even just like 3 salvos, you're largely looking at doing 2,500 stagger build up. Yeah, nobody's really going to compete with ours. I should have blocked that. I'm not paying attention. I'm not feeling like I was super positioned for the assault armor, so I'm going to save it, and I'm also going to use the chance to get my Huxleys back here. I wasn't positioned that well. That's unfortunate. If I had landed the assault armor there, that would have been a better outcome, but I was too busy talking. So I also didn't really use my buckler there because he's got mostly damage over time. So I can't outrange him because he's got a Netzigen. SMGs, again, just have a really strong value when it comes to... there we go. So that's how we space it properly. You do have to watch your Huxley and look for chances to bleed off some cooling while you've got it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to simultaneously regenerate my impact and get this... I meant to block that. Don't forget to reset the Huxley too every time you get kicked. Okay, I'm going to save this stagger now for when he's about to stagger me. That's another thing I can do with the assault armor, is save it for a stagger. Oh, that was really unfortunate timing. Yeah, we definitely outstagger pretty much everything with these pistols now, so you really are flirting the line for stability here on this build while still maintaining that rapid speed, which is why we're just going super aggressive on stability with the headpiece and the core. Good times to reload or parry though would be when I'm reloading, so I'm actually going to try to count my magazine this time. 8 salvos, parry. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, parry. Parry kicks is huge. My Huxley's getting overheated, so I'm going to back off. Yeah, really surprising how fast these can stagger, or win the stagger race even against heavier bipeds. PB Buckler's stupid as well. Like, I really hope they nerf this. Okay, this is another kite. So main thing with this is just focusing on getting in close and don't shoot too early, which is usually my... So I'm not really used to running pistol builds. I'm used to having the Zimmerman's range, so I need to check myself before I wreck myself. Yeah, see the Alula's jump distance, or the Alula combined with the jump distance of the... There we go. I need to get into the habit of that... Oh no, what a waste. I need to get into the habit of that sort of input to, when they QB through me, to reset. No. Okay, he has to come to me now. Although he's got missiles for poke, so let's at least get our Huxley back. See, the Alula thrust is really important for kites. That's the main reason I needed this over the SPD. You really need the ability to close the gap quickly so you can get in there and dump your magazine. Dragging it out, even if it means you're more assault boost efficient, I don't think it's worth it with this build. I'm going to try to create range on that javelin missile. There we go. I'm trying to body him into the corner efficiently. Battery back. I'm going to try to save the assault boost this time to be a bit more efficient. Parry there. So yeah, you can also parry while the pulse armor is up too in order to make an efficient trade. Or sorry, an efficient use of time, so they won't get much out of their pulse armor because you're blocking with near 100% block. Okay, just need to get one more stagger here. Oh, so close. I do find the Alula is really expensive though. That I cannot deny. No, I whiffed that. I couldn't get my lock on to go, or my trajectory to work in my favor there. I got stuck in that weird like assault boosting at more than 90 degrees where you just don't get any closer. I'm gonna go for the assault armor a little earlier here. I'm gonna try for it. He's not making it easy though. Very difficult to stay on top of him. We'll just body him in the corner using the Alula's QB reload. Oh, come on, Javelin. That was bullshit, you know it. There we go. That was what I meant to do the last time around.
50%.
Okay.
AP at 30%.
I'm gonna make him dump his mag, and then let's just start dumping into that pulse armor. There we go. So parrying for the first part of it, just especially depending on their gun type. In that case, a pistol. I'm just gonna flash the or cycle the IG of the PB buckler to burn off most of his mag for no return, and then dump in myself once I'm out of those 2 deploys.